Ladies and gentlemen, I got a little unboxing and review video for you. This is a flashlight that I got sent from a company called TrustFire. This is the MC5 14th anniversary edition. We're going to do a little unboxing and review, see if this flashlight is a good quality item that you can rely on in the mountains. Here I am in the backcountry of Montana by a really nice creek bottom. Perfect place to test something like this out. I'm going to do a good long 1 month solid of using this every single day for all my needs and see if this holds up. So let's dive into it, see what they sent me. I have not opened this box. It's still in the retail shrink wrap plastic. It just has my home address on this, straight from the company. Let's tear into this. I'm excited. I've been sitting on this for a few days. Now I'm throwing this on the ground. I'm not actually littering. I will pick this up. All right. There it is, a flashlight. Looks just like a flashlight should. A little warning label. Really nice color. Looks like it has magnetic charging. 14th anniversary edition. Really cool color. And then inside the box, usually you could tell if a flashlight's decent quality if the box is really nice and all the packaging is really nice. So far I'm impressed. Has a good manual, plenty of pages. Looks like multiple languages. A really nice, I don't even know what material that is. Looks like some kind of a velvet or something material. That's pretty fancy. A little carry strap and what is this? A magnetic USB-C, or not USB-C, USB-A charging cable. And then an extra O-ring. So that's always nice, having an extra O-ring. Looks like that's it. Sweet. Well, let's turn it on. If I could even figure out how. I mean, this is the first time I've ever opened this. Maybe I need to take the little protective stuff out of there. Okay, there it is. So make sure you take that out. A nice name brand TrustFire 21700 cell with the 15 amp discharge current rating. So that's pretty high. Looks like you could even use, I'm guessing you could use cells that have positive and negative both on the same end. So let's put that on. That goes together very well. So far the machining on this is very nice. I'm actually very impressed with that. I do carry a Phoenix E35 V3 and the size is almost identical. They even look very similar. So far I'm very impressed with the quality of the build here. If anything, the machining looks way better than I expected. Clip is really durable. I think this is magnetic. Yep, magnetic. Sticks right to the Glock slide. The Phoenix does not have that cool feature. Let's turn it on. Here we go. Four modes: low, medium, high, and turbo, I'm guessing. And hold to turn it off. So pretty much just like the Phoenix, and you gotta hold to turn it on. I am impressed, and I can feel it getting pretty hot right off the bat. The Phoenix gets extremely hot. There's even a warning on there to let you know that you might get burned, and I have burned holes in all of my pants with the Phoenix, so we'll see if this one does the same thing. The LEDs look pretty similar in size. I'd say probably the TrustFire has a slightly bigger LED almost. Probably a good deal bit bigger. We'll see if it's brighter. The lens is clear on the Phoenix. It's pretty kind of like a matte, scattered the light a little bit. And let's see how the charging cord fits. So it should just magnetize. Yep. Oh, and there's little light turns on the charger. That is really cool. So the only way to charge this is to just magnetize this, unless you have a dedicated 21700 charger. You'd have to take this out to charge it. So on my Phoenix, I have to basically unscrew the bell end of it and plug in a USB-C cable to the battery itself. On this one, you could take this out and charge it in a dedicated charger, or just have the magnetic charging off the side, which is really nice too. So far, I am very impressed. That looks like a sweet little light. Let's dunk it in the water. So initial impressions, the clip on this thing is backwards from the way I've been carrying my Phoenix. As you can see, the Phoenix is pretty much entirely inside the pocket, with the clip holding it here to the inside of the pocket. When I pull my light out, my thumb is already on the same side as the button, and I just turn it on and use it. With the TrustFire MC5, the clip is the other way around, so to clip it, pretty much half of the flashlight is sticking out. This is a little bit more prone to getting dirty or getting beat up. If you actually turn it on, you'll flash yourself in the face, but at least you won't burn holes in your pants pockets like I have with my Phoenix in every pair of pants I own. I don't see of a way to flip this clip around. It looks like it does come off, but I can't see of a way to clip it any other way to kind of mount the same way the Phoenix mounts. So if that's a problem, we'll see. I'll use it for a solid month and see if that's really an issue or not. But first impressions is that might be a problem for some people. Alright, after playing around with it for a couple minutes, I did get the clip onto the back end, kind of like I have the Phoenix set up. It doesn't look like it's made for it though, so the clip is supposed to sit in this little channel, and I ended up stretching it over the big part of the barrel here. It is really tight, and I don't think it's going to come off anytime soon, but it does technically slide up and down the whole length of this barrel if you really tried to. So I'm going to carry it like this probably the whole month, and because that's how I'm used to, and I like having the whole light in my pants. But that exposes the magnet, so potentially you might get this covered in a bunch of shavings. I'm a machinist by trade, so more than likely I'm going to have tons of steel shavings all over this magnet. We'll see. Not bad though. Alright, now we're going to dump this thing in the water for half an hour, see if this survives. In my opinion, a flashlight that you carry every single day, especially in the mountains, has to survive water, has to be fully waterproof. You never know when you're going to get stuck out in the rain, in the snow, crossing a creek or whatever, get wet, got to cook some food in the middle of the night, whatever it is. This thing needs to be waterproof. So let's throw this right into the water. I'll turn this on full brightness, and we'll place it in this creek. Alright guys, I just pulled the flashlight out of the water. It's been in there for over half an hour, all the way submerged. No problems at all. Still works as it should, still turns on. The button works perfectly. So no complaints in my opinion. This is a great light so far. Let's see it over the course of a month. The time has come. It has been a solid month of me using the TrustFire MC5 flashlight. I think I have enough experience with this now to share my 2 cents. So if you're anything like me, you need a good flashlight, you use a flashlight a lot, this might just be the flashlight for you if you like some of the features. So I wanted to get into some of the pros and cons that I've discovered with this flashlight over the last month. Obviously depends on who you ask. They have different preferences. Something that might be a pro for one person might be a con for somebody else, and vice versa. but this just might be the ticket for you. So let's get into it. So let's dive into the cons of this flashlight first. There's not a lot. The first thing obviously is it is magnetic charging, and the cord that does that is kind of a special cord. If you lose it, you will have to buy it from the manufacturer. It's only 10 bucks, so it's not a big deal, but it's not like you will just have it like at the local gas station or something that you can just go get another one. So if you want to buy, you know, a pile of them before you lose the one that came with it, that might be what you want to do. Keep one in your truck, keep one in your house, whatever. But it is a special cord, and there's really no way to charge this up with a different cord unless you have a very specific like 21700 battery charger. That way you can just take the battery out and charge the battery itself and then put it back in. It's kind of cumbersome. Obviously that's kind of how the flashlights have been for hundreds of years. Okay, not hundreds, thousands. Just kidding. But obviously flashlights have been doing that, so it's not the end of the world if you have to pull the battery out, put it on a charger, whatever. It's just a normal 21700 cell, and pretty much buy that charger anywhere. But that cord is kind of a special cord. What is this? But putting it on the charger is an option, or just buying more of those cords so that you don't lose it. The good thing about that is, though, unlike other flashlights like my beloved Phoenix, you have to open the flashlight to get to the USB port that's on the battery, and so you're kind of exposing it to the elements potentially. If you're camping, you're in a tent or whatever, you're outside in the rain and the snow, you're exposing your flashlight to the elements. If you're indoors, not a big deal, but if you're anything like me, how often are you indoors? So I guess there would be a pro that you can charge this flashlight without opening it up and exposing it to the elements, so you can charge it outside or whatever and be pretty safe on that end. The other con that I've kind of found is the beam pattern is a little bit too wide for my preference. Like, it's really nice if you're in a, you know, pretty small room, because it will expose so much of the, you know, the wall and the floor and stuff. But if you're like trying to look downrange, if you're like, you know, you hear a bump in the night and you open the door trying to see if what's out there, it doesn't reach as far, you know, fully charged, it doesn't reach as far as some other lights that I've played around with, but it's still like 9 out of 10 beam pattern. I mean, it is bright, it is long range. There's just other stuff that's a little bit longer range, so it depends what you're looking for. It might just be too wide for you, and it also could be too narrow for someone else. So I don't know. That's just something that for me at least, I like to be able to see a little bit further. The other con is it is really bright, but it doesn't stay at that brightness for long. So I did have it kind of shut off, so it'll have like the turbo mode or whatever you'd call it, the extra high mode, and it will shut off at kind of a weird random time. I did reach out to TrustFire. They very quickly got back to me, and they said basically anytime it's under 80% charge, it will get into that turbo mode for about 1 second, and then it'll drop down to the next mode. So it's not like an overheating issue. I thought it was an overheating issue. They just said it just saves your battery. So if you want to keep your light over 80% all the time, you'll have that turbo mode, that 3300 lumens. If you don't charge it to 80% or over 80%, it won't let you stay in that turbo mode. So just something to keep in mind. The next one down is pretty bright, but at least for me, I'd rather have that super high turbo mode. Yeah, it will kill your flashlight pretty fast, especially if you're, you know, mildly charged. But worst case scenario, like, I need it now. Let me figure out how to charge it. That's a tomorrow problem type of thing. You know, that's kind of how I see it. Like, I will take care of that. If I want that extra power right now, give it to me right now. And then I did mention the clip. The way the clip sits is kind of weird to me. I don't exactly like it. there isn't a really great way to deal with it like I did in the previous video, the unboxing video. I did flip the clip around and it hasn't moved at all. Like in the whole month I've used it, that clip has really been solid right there. It's just not really meant to go there. So if that's a problem for you, like if you need a clip to sit like this and you know, want it to be meant to do that, then you know, it might not be the thing for you. But I did flip it around and it hasn't been a problem. It's just not really meant to be like that. The other issue is it's got a lot of like texture to it, and in a kind of a stressful situation or in the pitch black, it's kind of hard to find the button. The button doesn't really stick out, and there's like the cooling fins that do stick out more than the button, which could be a pro, could be a con, depends who you ask, because you obviously don't want to just constantly keep hitting that button accidentally and turning it on. But when you do need to find it, you kind of have to rotate it in your hands like 4 times before you find that button. And after using this a month, I still kind of haven't really figured that out. All right, and the last con I think worth mentioning is the magnetic charging. As great as it is, as easy and simple as it is, sometimes the cord doesn't magnetize correctly, and so you don't actually get it charging. There's a little red and green LED light that turns on, and so if it does magnetize, it will turn red, and that will just tell you that it's not fully charged and it's doing its work. But sometimes you know it's not fully charged, you magnetize it and the cord is green. So I'm not sure what that it's about. You kind of have to like play around with the cord and kind of spin it around and twist it and kind of make sure that it's really sitting on there how it's supposed to. Otherwise it'll be a little deceiving. So nothing wrong with the good old-fashioned USB cord, and I kind of do wish that I could just have a USB cable that I could plug into the battery or something. The Phoenix has a battery with a USB port on it, and literally you could probably just buy that battery, stick it in here, and it'll run just fine. And I have played around with it and it does work. So if you're really needing that USB port. Other than that, this is a great flashlight. I love this thing. I am stoked about it. The magnet on the bottom is so great at just holding this thing in so many cool areas and cool places that you just can't get the clip to work. Like the Phoenix, I've had to clip it to my hat kind of at an angle and try to work at an angle so I could see what I'm doing. The magnet is a night and day difference. Be able to put this in a lot of places where I need to work. Obviously the problem is a whole bunch of stuff gets stuck to it, and there's no easy way around it. Like I'm a CNC machinist, so I'm working around cutting a lot of steel all day, every day, and just having this in my pocket and blowing off parts, they just collect on here like a magnet. So I keep having to blow this off and clean all the stuff off of it. It just collects everything. Man, I'm out of breath. On the bright side, I have lost a washer that came with something I ordered, and a few days later I found it and it was stuck to the flashlight bottom. So again, pro and con, depends on who you ask and who you are and what you do. The actual pros. This thing is bright. This thing turns on every time you push the button. This thing has an indicator light that tells you how charged it is. I absolutely love that. This thing has very, very nice anodizing. It takes a lot to get any kind of scratches on it. I'm honestly very impressed with the anodizing. It almost looks, I mean, from 10 feet away, it looks brand new. So, a couple scratches, but it's been in my pocket every single day for the whole month. I've been working with this. I've been working on my place. Plumbing, electrical, CNC machining, you name it. Working on my cars. This thing has been there with me, and so a couple little scratches here and there, I'm honestly impressed. The other pro, the Phoenix, which I have in my pocket here. This Phoenix has burned a hole in every pair of pants I own because I accidentally turn it on and then I only feel it after it's burned a hole through my pocket and it's starting to burn my leg. So This thing does not do that. This thing does not get anywhere near as hot. It does hurt if you hold it on your skin, of course, but it has yet to burn a hole in my pocket. So that is a huge difference for me. I no longer have to keep replacing pants every other week because my pocket has a giant hole in it now and I can't get anything to stay in there. The color's really nice. The accessories that came with this is really nice. I mean, they put a lot of effort and work into this flashlight. I'm very impressed. The batteries are, you know, pretty standard 21700 cell that you can find like Amazon, eBay, anywhere online. And then a deal breaker for me, if you're anything like me, is this thing has to be waterproof. This thing has to be washable. This thing has to be able to be left out in the rain or whatever. And it is still fully waterproof. No issues there. You guys saw that video. I literally had it sitting in a creek for over 30 minutes and never died, never had an issue, never had any kind of errors or failures. The O-ring is perfectly waterproof and even came with an extra O-ring, which is really nice. That would be a deal breaker for me. It has to be fully submersible. And then, you know, if it gets dirty, if you got a bunch of motor oil on it or something from working on your car, you just wash it. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if you could just put it in the dishwasher and wash it off. The lens is clear, and so it's a little bit different than the Phoenix. The Phoenix is kind of like matte colored, matte textured. And so all the little dust particles show up really well on it. Obviously doesn't affect the functionality of the flash, just kind of changes how it looks, if that's your preference, you know. The only other thing I'll have to say is the Phoenix has 5 light modes. This thing has 4, and I really like only having 4. I mean, I feel like the simpler the better. I don't need like 10 lumen increments all the way up to 5,000 or anything like that. Just give me like a small, medium, high, and I'll be happy. This thing has low, medium, high, and then like a turbo mode. So if you're anything like me, that's perfect. Like, you don't need all the little modes. You don't need to press the button 17 times to get to the light mode you want. Just give me 2 or 3 options. 4 is fine, and let me get on my way and get things done. So that's more or less the experience with this. I fully trust my life on this thing. I've been carrying this long enough to know that this is a well-made flashlight. All said and done, if you guys want one of these, go ahead and hit the TrustFire website. There's a link in the description, and if you use the code SawtoothWild, you get 10% off. So if you use that code, I make a couple bucks. It helps me out a little bit, helps the channel. Use the link to get there, and this might just be everything you've been looking for. So thanks guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Give me all your comments. I read everything. I respond to almost everything. So love all the support. Love our community. Stay wild.